Are you for some reason a Bentley fanboy? Do you really want a W12 Continental but want everyone else at Cars and Copters to know that you, yes you, not the 5 Koenigsegg owners, not the Zonda guys that get their cars trailered into the meet, not the guy with the one-off Bugatti with 0 miles and nobody gives a shit about, and sure as hell not the guy that brings multiple cars, but you have the tiniest, most minuscule micro penis of them all, then the Bentley Bacalar is the perfect car for you. To make a long story short, and actually let's keep a long story long for the sake of the video, the Bentley Bacalar has the exact same W12 as any other Bentley but pushes out 24 more horsepower than the Continental, and you know what's funnier than 24?
25.
It's pretty much the exact same thing as the Continental, but with 2 less seats, which means you're going to be doing U-turns around Rodeo with only 1 Instagram thought at a time instead of the 3 available spaces in the Bentley Continental. Well, 5 depending on how bad you want to look like you want to get laid. But the Bacalar also looks like a Continental with a Mansory body kit. Okay, maybe not that bad. Mansory, as some of you may know, can make some things that are, well, questionable, to say the very least. But the Bacalar doesn't look half bad, to be honest. It looks like what you could probably expect out of a facelifted special edition Bentley in 2020 anyways. It has new headlights, which I think are going to be pretty polarizing, but I like them. And it also has a new front lip and front bumper, which looks surprisingly modern given that the new Continental only came out last year. In the back, we got new tail lights, a new lower rear bumper, and these things that look like it could cover up 2 seats that could be used to carry 2 more Instagram thoughts, but alas, it's only a 2-seater because fuck you. I mean, honestly, what is that thing anyway? It looks like you should be able to remove it and either have a convertible soft top or like have a hard top that you can replace it with, but now it's ugly and it's not functional. It looks like one of those things I can buy for my 94 Mustang and use if I want to make my car look like a 2-seater. You probably don't know what I'm talking about unless you too are a man of culture, aka a Mustang driver. Like, why couldn't they have just made this a 4-seater and gotten rid of that thing? Oh, by the way, it's not a convertible if you didn't get that by now. You just got to be committed to the top-down lifestyle that comes with owning this thing. Some people that own convertibles, including myself, will take any chance they have to ride with the top down. And it's like, once the top goes down, unless it rains, it stays down. No matter how hot it gets, no matter how hard the wind's blowing in your face going 80 down the freeway, you got to commit to it. And the top doesn't go up until you're back home. Especially if you're riding the homies around, and especially if you have a girl in the car. But the difference between my Mustang and the Bacalar is that I can choose to commit to the topless life. When you buy a car that's worth 40 used BMW M4s, 20 Gallardos, you could even get a Veyron for the price of this thing. Like, are you taking a glorified Continental or a damn Bugatti for this price? Or even the most perspective comparison, 10 normal Bentley Continentals? Okay, yeah, I'm getting off topic. What was I saying? In my Mustang, I can choose the topless life. If I buy this, which I can totally afford, by the way. Okay. If I buy this, the topless life chooses me. Now there's other cars like this. Pretty much any Corvette has a Targa top, which you can choose to keep on or not. The same thing goes for Carrera GTs, 918s, and even Ferrari F50s, which you have to take to the dealership to get your hard top installed and taken off again. If you want to choose the topless life, you at least have the option. But with the highest end and rarest Bentley of this decade thus far, you just get an aftermarket looking cover that looks super weird from the interior. It's not like it flows into the interior in any way. One great example of doing this is the soft top Corvettes. I think they've at least done for the C7 and C6 generations. They've done a great job of making the exterior kind of flow into the interior when the top's down. Speaking of the interior, it definitely does a great job at making you feel like what you're driving isn't some regular old $200,000 Bentley. You have a Bacalar badge here, you have a Bacalar badge here, a Bacalar badge here, and a Bacalar badge here, just in case you're driving and you went like, this drives like a normal Continental. Then you got out the car and went, this kind of looks like a Continental. It must be a normal Continental. So why'd I just pay $2 million for this? Oh, don't worry. You get back in this car, you take a picture of the Bacalar badge, you post it on Instagram, and your ego's restored. No, but actually the interior is amazing. It definitely differentiates itself from the Continental, and it's a prime example of what a great interior looks like without the use of carbon fiber everywhere, bucket seats, Alcantara, and other race-inspired features. I feel like every other car these days wants to have an interior that's just kind of barely balancing itself on the line of practicality and sportiness. It seems like in recent years that auto manufacturers have just forgotten that it doesn't have to look like a race car to be a decent interior. And while I do like a nice race car interior with bucket seats and carbon fiber everywhere, it is nice to see a 2-seater that's truly luxurious and not trying to be sporty. Another thing it does well is the infotainment. It doesn't have to have a big ass tablet protruding out the fucking dash to look modern, BMW, and it also doesn't have to have 2 big ass tablets to look decent. Mercedes. Actually, the infotainment screen on this car is pretty cool. It rotates and hides away to look like a part of the dashboard. On another side, it has a clock and a couple other gauges, and then finally you have the infotainment. But why does it take 40 parts to rotate it? For some reason, it takes 40 moving parts to rotate the screen in this car. Like, why? I've always appreciated that companies like Audi and Rolls-Royce have made efforts to hide the screen when it's not in use and to make it look like a normal dashboard. It really does take me back to the days when companies weren't trying to integrate screens into otherwise beautiful interiors. But I've always questioned the long-term reliability of these moving moving screens in cars such as the RS7 and Rolls-Royce Phantom, especially when the screen is being flipped up and down multiple times a day. And now there's a car with 40 moving parts to do something as minute as flip a screen. I know this makes no sense because I read what's on the screen, but in the script while writing this, I wrote a laughing emoji after that sentence because now in 2020, there's no need to imagine something that excessive. It just is. Like, it exists, like it's just there. But overall, what do I think of this car? Usually I'm not too fond of special edition few-off cars that are based off of a lesser car at an exorbitant price hike, and it would definitely be a lot cooler if it was built on a chassis that was better proportioned to be a completely topless two-seater instead of just chopping the top off a Continental and leaving it at that. But it definitely is a unique take on the Continental. I'm a sucker for the interior, and it uses interiors that you don't usually see at this price point. A lot of like rare materials. Well, just one rare material is the wood. Matter of fact, why is it 1.9 million again? But the finishes are cool, and it was definitely quite a bold exterior combo for a debut spec. But would I pay 1.9 million for a Continental though? I just don't know. I mean, look at what else you can get in a 1.8 million to 2.2 million price range. You could have a P1, maybe a LaFerrari, a Veyron, a Chiron, a Huayra, a Senna, 918. Hell, if you wanted to stay in the luxury category, you could probably get a Phantom drophead that's fully spec'd and customized beyond your wildest dreams for half the price. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, drop a like, leave a comment letting me know which car you want to see me review next. See you guys in the next one.